So we're better off being transparent in the first place, letting know people where we stand and what we do. It saves us so much trouble. Besides, if I had to be two different people here and there, I would lose my mind. That's just too hard for me to do. Now we're going to keep going, verses 6 and 7. This is terrible. Though the pride of a godless person reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? Now he's judging Job again so harshly. And he's right that unrepentant people will face judgment. We all will. Okay? And at first, sin is enjoyable for a minute. For a minute. But punishment might be deferred until we're dead. We might not get punished for those sins until we're in front of that judgment seat. And then it's going to be too late to change anything about it. We should not be impressed or jealous with the success or power of evil people. We give them too much power over our lives too many times. We think that they can do stuff to us. But again, like I shared, they can't do anything to us that God cannot protect us from or bring us through. The worst of the worst, and it's going to be okay. But we get hung up on, what if this happens? What about that? And then we start the horrible, horrible habit of planning, making the checklist, checking everything off in the right order, and then getting frustrated because it doesn't work our way. That's the frustrating part. It's not working my way. But I can tell you for a fact, for 30 years, I've been waiting for that parking lot to have something done to it. 30 years. Several pastors have turned down free offers to do it. They've turned on this. Finally, 30 years later, it got done. I found a checklist upstairs from like 10 years ago. Nothing was done on the list before. In the last 3 years, everything on the checklist has been done. Everything and then some. So we shouldn't plan without God in the picture. It's easier that way because then we're not let down as much. Because he doesn't always follow through the way we want him to. Lots of times it's not my way, it's his way, and I don't like it. Let me push harder. And I don't like it. But it's reality. He knows what's better for me than I do. Okay, let's keep going. Verses 8, I believe, through 13. Like a dream, he flies away, no more to be found. Banished like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will not see him again. His place will look upon him no more. His children must make amends to the poor. His hands must give back his wealth. The youthful vigor that fills his bones will lie with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he cannot bear to let it go, lets it linger in his mouth. Yet his food will turn sour in his stomach, and it will become the venom of serpents within him. He will spit out the riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck the poison of the serpents. The fangs of the adder will kill him. He will not enjoy the streams of rivers flowing with honey and cream. What he toiled for, he must give back uneaten. He will not enjoy the profit from his trading, for he has oppressed the poor and left them destitute. He had seized the houses he did not build. They are calling Job out for things he has not done. The proud will perish and never be seen again, just like us. Sometimes their children will pay for their mistakes. Our children will pay for our mistakes sometimes. Okay? And no matter how luxuriously they lived, suddenly everything could be gone. And we just saw this Friday, when Lake Geneva and Lake Como and the township of Delavan got hit with a huge storm. People lost everything in a storm. People were drowned in a boat. Storm came out of nowhere. Boat flipped. 3 kids lost their lives. Just randomly. We don't know when our last day is going to be. That's a thought we really need to think about. We don't know. And if we're constantly planning for tomorrow, we're missing all the blessings of today. Do I have to push that? We're missing all the blessings of today. Because when you look at your life realistically, the cup you're holding is overflowing every day. It might not seem like it, but you're being blessed all the time. It's hard for the younger people to see this. Because adults go through some adult things. Adulting is really hard. Having responsibility is really hard. But at the end of the day, we look back, everything was taken care of. Everything's all good. God was there with us. Even though he went through all of these things, he's still there. Now, let's keep going. Verses 20 through, I don't even know what. 20 through 29. Surely he will have no respite from his cravings. He cannot save himself by his treasures. Nothing is left to devour him. Prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of misery will come upon him. I'm going to stop right there. I was at Woodman's for a very long time, and I saw a lot of people retire. Some died within 6 months of retiring. They banked all that money, but then they were gone. Couldn't enjoy 1 minute of it. Or got to just before they were going to retire and died. Some invested their money and lost it all. Lost their entire retirement packages. Some retired and got divorced and lost half of everything. It's not always a promise to make us happy. Money does not make us happy. We need to understand that it's going to be different, that our treasures are nothing. Okay? Women, we like jewelry. Men like their vehicles. Oh, yeah. And tools, yes. But none of that is going to be important. It's not going to do anything for us. And we need to understand that, find my place, that doesn't make us happy. We can say we don't have any food when you go through the line of the pantry, but the truth is there's plenty of food out there. You just don't want that. You want what you want. We are spoiled. We're completely spoiled, and then we take it out on the other person. We need to learn our priorities. We need to see what they are and live with them. I'm going to start in 23, Courtney. When he has filled his belly, God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down blows on him. Let's see if I can see that. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierces him. He pulls it out of his back, the gleaming point of his liver. Terrors will come across him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left of his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt, and the earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry him out of his house and rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate allotted to the wicked, the heritage appointed to them by God. Almost every imaginable calamity, hunger, distress, misery, armies attacking his happiness. My friend in Missouri, Friday, her husband's been gone for 3 months already. Every day she struggles with bumping into somebody else. The town they're in is like 10,000 people. How everybody doesn't know, I don't know. Every day she bumps into someone at the Walmart, at a restaurant, that doesn't know about her husband. So she has to relive that day over and over and over. She's trying to clean up her property. He was one of those men, like Dan, that like to collect everything. Everything, cars, tractors, junk, stuff, just in case we need it. She's trying to go through that, but her family is saying, don't touch it. You got to wait. Wait a year before you throw anything out. Don't do this, don't do that. She's getting attacked on all sides. She's going through this right now. She feels like she's being punished for everything she does. And then she calls me, crying, for hours. When can you come down? I need you. I'm working on something. I'll see when I can do it. But the truth is, the final nemesis of the wicked is God sending them into the depths of hell to suffer, just like the people they punished when they were here on earth. Now, if you work with people, you understand what I'm saying. We work with a lot of bullies. We work with a lot of people that want to control our every thought and everything we do. And the sad fact is we give them that power. We allow them, like my friend, letting the family, letting people make up her mind for her because she's too afraid to make a decision. She has a property, she has a house, she's got a ton of stuff she didn't know she had. No, they were married for 35 years. 35. She didn't know he had a safe in the garage with a lot of money in it, baseball cards, foreign currency, Pokemon cards, you name it. He's got this whole collection of stuff. She didn't know about his bank accounts that were all over $100,000. She had no idea. She had no idea the pension that she was allowed with health insurance for life. She had no idea that all these blessings were waiting for her. But it took her husband to die to find out. Now this week, she shared, I've been emailing this guy with questions, and I found out that my husband actually believed in God. She said, I didn't know what to say. He said he and Donnie had been talking for months about God and religion and stuff, and she had no idea. None. Everything that she thought was bad in her life, horrible in her life even. The week her husband died, she went to see her financial planner, and he said, I'm sorry, you cannot retire. You don't have enough of anything to retire? I need your husband's paperwork. She goes, he won't give it to me. That's his private business. He won't. And she's living through this calamity, thinking everything she has is going to be gone, that she can't retire, she can't do this, she can't do that, only to find out she can do whatever she wants. That even though they weren't talking, communicating, whatever, God was making sure that he was taking care of her and their son every step of the way. On the outside looking in, we're criticizing him like Zophar is criticizing Job, because we don't know what's going on. And we're looking good, well, what kind of husband is he? What about this? What about that? Who's providing for his grandkids? The reality was, God was. God was taking care of everything before anybody even knew it. So we stand, like I said, on the outside looking into a situation thinking we know best. We don't know anything. We know nothing. And we're here, like I said, 5 days a week with people, and we are seeing them blossom into completely different people. Completely different people. That first song, The Pastor and the Kid, and I was not exaggerating when I said my pagan friend brought it over one day and played it for me. Sat at the table and here he goes, every time I hear this song, you heard it more than once? Now I'm really questioning things. I'm still a pagan, but every time I hear this song, I think of you. And he's been bringing more random stuff over all the time. He's a very different person than he was when I first met him. Very different. He's still the same at the core, but he's very different. Now, let's keep going in verse 21. Job gets to say something. These are my favorite parts, when Job gets to talk. I need to break these down more so I can read it. Then Job replied, listen carefully to my words. Let this be the consolation you give me. Excuse me. Bear with me while I speak, and after I have spoken, mock on. Is my complaint directed at a human being? Why should not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Clap your hand over my mouth. When I think about this, I am terrified. Trembling seizes my body. Why do the wicked live on, growing old and increasing in power? They see their children established around them, their offspring before their eyes. Their homes are safe, and their free from fear. The rod of God is not on them. Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows calve and do not miscarry. They send forth their children as a flock. The little ones dance about. They sing to music of tremble and lyre. They make merry to the sound of the pipe. They spend their years in prosperity and go down to the grave. Again, this is only on the outside looking in. We all have families and we all have family issues. A couple weeks ago, we were downstairs working the ladies, and one of our ladies shared a story that they were all out at the lake. They have a place on a lake, and they were all hanging out together. And one lady said, "I wish I had a family like yours." And she said, "No, you don't. My children fight. My children don't like this." And went down the list of all the things her children did. But the lady chose not to listen to any of them. That night, she went home and hung herself because she was so jealous of what she thought this other person had. It's not a perfect family. I've been there with fistfights with their daughters. It's not perfect. I was there in the middle of January, freezing my butt off with a pickup truck and a trailer, loading her stuff in to get it out of the house before her boyfriend got back. But all the lady could see what was perfect about her life, because we only look for that in others. We think, oh, they got it going on. Look at them. They got everything. No, they don't. All of us will suffer struggles in life. No matter where we are or what we're doing, things are not going to go our way. We need to understand this. Again, Job is talking about how people are looking. This is a combination of both of them, Zophar and Job, looking at each other's lives the way they want to see it. Zophar wants Job to be a sinner, and Job wants evil people to be punished. Zophar thinks he's got it all. And I love how Job says, "Let me talk and then go ahead. It's your turn to criticize me some more. If you want to keep criticizing me, go ahead." I know a person who says, "If you're picking on me, you're leaving everybody else out." But the idea is life is not going to be perfect. Let's keep going. 14 through whatever's next. I don't know. Because this is important. Yet they say to God, "Leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways." I could stop with that verse right there. My family, my biological brothers and sisters, do not know who God is. They have no relationship with him in any possible way. And if you ask them to describe me, they will say, "I'm self-centered. I only care about myself. I only care about money. I have no time for other people." Sound familiar, does it? That I am a horrible person. And I'm okay with that. Because if they're picking on me, they're leaving somebody else out. But they really believe that's how I am. They say to God, "Leave us alone. We don't need you." Keep going, Courtney, 15. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What will we gain by praying to him? But their prosperity is not in their own hands. So I stand aloof from the place of the wicked. Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them? The faith God allots in his anger. How often are they like straw before the wind, the chaff swept away by the gale? It is said, God stores up the punishment of the wicked for their children. Let him repay wicked so that they themselves will experience it. Let their own eyes see destruction. Let them drink from the cup of the wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care about the families they leave behind when their allotted months come to an end? Can anyone teach knowledge to God since he judges the highest? He points out that the wicked will prosper in the end of their life, till the end of their lives. And they will die without suffering, even if they had no time for God. I'm going to pause again. My father passed away like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't even know. My mother passed away 3.5 years ago. But in between time, I had a brother that was in charge of everything. No, you're going to laugh, I know. And I took my mom to the bank one day because I drew the short straw. She thought she had X amount in her account. She found out she didn't have anything in her account. Nothing. So we had to go back the next day and have a meeting with the person in the office, stack of paper this big, I'm not joking, years worth of stuff, of all the money my brother took out of her account. And the lady said, don't worry. We're going to file a complaint, a thing against him through the Council on Aging because he's taking advantage of you. Then he sold her house. My other brother took the cars, whatever he could get his hands on. They took everything. Years later, not even years, a year or two later, one brother got divorced, got really sick. The other brother's house was destroyed in a tornado, lost a ton of stuff. Their lives are not the same. They thought they had everything. They thought they had the world by the short hairs, to find out they had nothing. They were sure that they were going to win the game. And Job asks, how often do the wicked reap their rewards for their sins in their own lifetime? The answer is, it happens a lot. If we are paying attention, we can see people suffering for their sins. We can see them being punished. We can see ourselves being punished. Okay? The way we respond to our personal struggles, again, that we all have, shows our attitude towards God. If we continue to trust him, no matter how bad things get, we're going to be okay. Early this week, last week I guess, I got a message from someone, so-and-so is having a really bad day, could you send him something? So I sent this person, a little prayer, and he called me back, and he's talking about looking for apartments and the struggles he's having, whatnot. And I said, don't worry, I got mattresses coming now. You got your sheets, you got towels, you got dinnerware, all that stuff upstairs. And he started to cry. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. I'm like, stop crying. Quit. You can talk to Dan and cry. Just don't cry on me. But no, really. You have no idea how much I appreciate what you guys have done for us. And I constantly go back to, I unlock the door. I'll make the donuts. Or make coffee, put out the donuts rather, and I make lunch. That's what I do. No. Someone this week said, you gave me hope to keep going. So when we go through those struggles in life that we've all been through and will continue to go through, how we react to them shows our relationship with God. When our oldest son was in 16, so that's 20 plus years ago, okay? 24 actually. Doing some stuff, cutting boards, and he cut his finger off with a saw. Cut it off. First, we had to pack his hand in ice. Then we had to find the fingertip. Then we had to take him to the hospital. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited. They said, we're transferring him to Madison. So transfer him to Madison Hospital. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited. Well, every intern on the staff came into the emergency room, poked at his finger, and poked in the bowl. I'm not joking. Poked at the finger, poked in the bowl. And the young doctor kept coming out and talking to Dan and I. And we're like, well, we're not doctors. What can we do? We can't do anything about this situation but sit here and wait. He's like, but you're so calm. Again, we're not doctors. Goes into surgery. They reattach, sort of. But it's been too long. So blood won't flow through. Lost his fingertip. Okay? Lost his fingertip. And then reality set in for me, because I spent the night at the hospital. Dan went home. 2 o'clock in the morning, having coffee, whatnot. Can't sleep. Who could sleep on a hospital bed? I'm talking to an older man sitting there. And we're discussing our children. What happened with yours? What happened with yours? He said, my son has an inoperable tumor on the inside of his thigh, and he's not going to be going home. The nurses are having a party for him right now. He lost a fingertip. This kid lost his life. How selfish would it be for us to sit and cry? Things are going to happen, and how we handle that death or that loss shows our faith. Now, 23, keep going. One person dies in full vigor, completely secure at ease, well nourished in the body, bones rich with marrow. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having enjoyed anything good. Side by side they lie in the dust, and worms cover both of them. I know full well what you are thinking, the schemes by which you would wrong me. You say, where now is the house of the great tents, where the wicked live? Have you never questioned those about travel? Have you paid no regard to their accounts? The wicked are spared from the day of calamity. They are delivered from the day of wrath. Who denounces their conduct to their face? Who repays them for what they have done? They are carried to the grave, and watch is kept over their tombs. The soil in the valley is sweet to them. Everyone follows after them, and countless throngs go before them. So how can you counsel me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answers but falsehood. It doesn't matter how rich or poor, how healthy or broken we are. We're all going to die. We can tell ourselves that we're going to build a big statue to me and put on the grave, but who cares? No one. The reality is 3 generations out, your family will not remember you anymore because no one's going to talk about you. They're going to look at a picture and go, who's that? Well, that's your grandpa. No, I don't remember him. We don't remember people when we don't have contact with them. Okay? One person dies peacefully at the top of their game. Another dies with nothing. Again, in death, we're all alike. It doesn't matter. It's not whoever dies with the most toys wins, because nobody wants those toys. As one final shot to his friends, Job says, and you try to comfort me with nonsense. Every answer you give me is a lie. He's saying, I'm not sure why I'm talking to you. You're not comforting me. You're making things worse. Your nonsense. It's going to be okay. No, people don't want to hear that. People want you to be with them. It's the hardest thing that we can do is sit with someone suffering and keep our big mouths shut. Maybe I'm speaking for myself because I got a big mouth. But the reality is, when I went to Missouri, I got there at 8 o'clock at night, left here, went straight down there and went to Mulaney's house. I high-fived her son, he left, and we sat on the couch and she cried. End of story. That's what it was. She didn't need to say anything. She didn't need to wait so she could ask and I could answer. In the meantime, nothing. Because the more we open our mouths, the more we get ourselves in trouble. Because we like to say a lot of dumb stuff. We should see ourselves as Job, but we really are his friends. We are just saying things. We're not listening for the other person to talk or to share. We're listening for them to stop talking so we can start. That's the reality. The lovely couple in Missouri that if one of them starts talking, by the third word, the other one's talking over the top of them. And then they both get louder to make sure they can be heard. Then one stops and asks a question. And the other person said, I already asked it. They didn't answer me. Well, we couldn't hear you because you're both talking at the same time. We need to be quiet. We need to shut up every now and then. And as Job is dealing with his friends, he's making his point. He's letting them talk. But he's also allowing them to be who they're going to be. He's not trying to change them. He's not trying to do anything against them. He understands that he's going to have to forgive his friends for their attitude. That's the tough part. Forgiving someone. Forgiving anyone. But this is where we're at today. Job's letting his friends speak. He's putting his part out there. He's sharing. Again, gotta forgive. Today is the first Sunday of the month. Okay, Christmas in July, first Sunday of the month. We need to forgive people. So we're going to have communion in a few minutes. But in the meantime, I want you to bow your heads and think about all the people that you need to forgive in your life. All those you're holding grudges against. Because we hold a lot of grudges. Would you bow your heads? And just think for a minute. I know we have families, and it's easy to hold a grudge against a family member. But we need to let that go. We need to let go those hurts that we think we suffer, that are nothing in the grand scheme of things. Just a misspoken word, something taken out of context. We need to forgive those people. We need to forgive the people that we think persecute us every day. And then we realize, in reality, that's just how they are, that they were raised differently than us. We need to forgive those bullies in our lives because they are acting out because they've got their own issues. It's very hard to do that, but we know that some people act out of anger because they can't control anything. So they try to control other people, which never ends well because it makes us angry. We need to forgive them. We need to forgive our neighbors that blow their leaves into our yard. We need to forgive people who have left the church and badmouth us. We need to forgive everyone. We need to forgive ourselves. That's the most important one, forgiving ourselves. So take a few minutes and think about who you need to forgive. Now, when you're done, come on up and get the elements.